I think pastors were really seeing people coming to them in need, and yet they maybe had a limited knowledge about the resources available for people, as well as they didn't really feel like they knew what approach to take to coordinate some efforts around building support systems for families. And so pastors talked about that for a long time, about their frustrations with really being able to do anything more than Band-Aid something for families that were experiencing a need. Finally, we just decided to jump in, kind of into the deep end, and take a risk, and looked for some funding, asked Faith Lutheran if they'd be willing to be a fiscal host, basically, but really making sure that all of the churches were a part of development and building a vision around and goals around the mission, which is neighbors sharing the love of God through service to one another.
Again, it's an opportunity for us to build links where people can give as well as receive, and sometimes it's the same people. So it's a great opportunity for people in our community. Tuesday's Table, yeah. I would also love to talk about Tuesday's Table.
We really wanted a consistent opportunity for people to come together, and it was twofold: to have fellowship and have food.
This shows why the name, the link, is really appropriate. In this case, the link is collaborating with 5 area churches to provide a weekly meal. And what's important to note is that it's a community meal. It's not only a meal for people who may not have enough food or people who may be struggling in any way, but really a meal for anyone in our community to come together and build relationships. And that's good for everyone.
I basically went in for what should have been a fairly routine surgery, and I guess in Dr. Wessler's words, it wound up being a train wreck. I wound up with several complications. A 4-hour surgery wound up being a little over a 10-hour surgery, and it was followed up by another 7-hour surgery, and basically 75 days in the hospital and 3 months, on a feeding tube, and with my wife taking care of me 100% of the time.
About 2 years ago, I got a call from a family that was seeking assistance. They attended Our Lady of the Lakes Church, and they were referred over to the link for some help.
My concerns were, when you're the person going through that, you're fighting, and it's not that bad, believe it or not. I mean, it's, when you're like my wife and you have to sit and watch that. And that was the most difficult thing for her.
They were facing losing their health insurance at a time when having health care was critical to surviving.
And as we went through that, you try to plan for what's going to happen, and financially and everything. And, when you're thinking about 3 to 4 days in the hospital and a week or two of, just recuperation, and then back to life as normal.
We helped really advocate on their behalf in many ways. One was helping them pay some of the bills that they were facing, and also writing a Good Samaritan grant to the Wilmer Area Community Foundation for part of the COBRA payment, and then the link helped with the other part.
The worst thing that can happen in that time is you lose your insurance, and we had both lost our income, number one, because I was sick, and number two, because she had to be there. She had made several decisions that actually saved my life, and so she was unable to go and, work and do what she does, and, I was kind of out of it, and at that point, the Link stepped in for us, and it was a miracle. It really was. They took care of a couple of months, and that was what it took for us to reorganize and get things going.
The Link was able to financially assist the Keenans at a time in their life when financial assistance was really critical.
Meant the difference with us between having a manageable medical bill and winding up with, financial ruin.
Today, they've returned to being productive members of our community and continue to give back and make a difference through their work and through their time volunteered in the community. And the Link is really honored to have been able to assist them at a critical time in their lives.
You think of a lot of different things when you're going through this, and number one, your first phase of it is you're just, trying to be alive for that next day, and for Rita is to try to plan and figure on what her life was going to be like without me. That had to be tough. But, wow. That's the worst part. I think about what I went through, and ain't nothing compared to what she did. But when you guys stepped in, that was great. Made me able to be here today, and not only, be alive and be here, but, I have a lot of my old life back. And that was something that surely would have been gone without the help.
They make a difference every day, and we're happy to have made a difference in their life.
I don't know. I got a new perspective on life, and I'm going to be making pies for Dr. Wessler, and that was actually something that my mom started with him. When I lost my mom, I guess that's kind of every year I do this, I just go ahead, and Mom and I cook together a lot, and I go ahead and I make the pies for Doc, and believe it or not, I'm spending time with my mom when I do that, and that's pretty cool for me. I really enjoy it, and I know Doc enjoys the pies. There's so many stories that go along with this whole adventure that when I was at Mayo Clinic, the one I'll never forget was there was a doctor there, and you had a team of doctors, but this doctor, I'm not sure where he was from. I think he was from England, and he was good. And he came in, and he didn't play games. He didn't pull any punches. He just kind of told you how things were. And I'll never forget, as long as I live, after all of this stuff had gone wrong, and they had just said, hey, this is just what's going to happen. He started to walk out of the room that I was in, and he stopped, and he turned around and looked at me, and he said, man, he said, you can feel the people that are praying for you. And for a doctor that didn't know me to do that was unbelievable. I didn't think I'd do this.
Yeah.